Today, I'm going to talk about the problem of unemployment, and I'm going to go into depth and more specifically into youth unemployment around the globe. First, let's talk about what unemployment is exactly. Unemployment basically happens when a person is basically actively finding a job and finding work, but they're not able to actually find the job and become employed. And this is actually measured by the unemployment rate, which is basically dividing those who are unemployed and those who are not working a job over those in the labor force, basically everyone that's seeking a job. Actually, unemployment right now around the world is not a big problem, and it's actually getting better around the world. But one category within unemployment is youth unemployment, and this problem is clearly getting worse and worse
regionally, locally, and globally.
This problem is slowly becoming more and more important in societies because it is important for societies to bring in youth into the workforce because they bring in new ideas to companies as well as very good energy. Also, if we do not solve this problem in the near future, the future of economies around the world will be questionable if we do not help the youth prosper in their lives. On a personal level, this also matters to me because if systems around the world are not changed, I could be one of the next unemployed young people struggling to support my own life without job. Now let's talk about youth unemployment first, locally in our city of Hong Kong. In 2013, the unemployment rate for the whole society in general was only 3.3%. However, the unemployment rate for those aged 15 to 24 was 9.4%, almost 3 times the unemployment rate for the whole society. According to the Census and Statistics Department, there was 15.3% unemployment for people aged 15 to 19 and only 6.6% for those aged 20 to 29. There's believed to be one main cause for the unemployed youth in Hong Kong, it being that the youth are not willing or open to start working at entry jobs that have low salaries. Another reason for why so many youth are living in poverty is because they're simply working easy, minimal effort required office jobs that do not provide substantial income. There is also another cause for the unemployment for the youth. However, the problem, surprisingly, is not that there are no jobs available in Hong Kong, because people state that in many industries in Hong Kong, such as construction, aircraft mechanics, electricians, and elevator repair, there are actually a shortage of workers, and employers actually really need apprentices to help them. But the problem is that the youth are not taking these opportunities, is because one, they're not willing to work these hard-working jobs, and number two, they aren't looking at the future of them climbing up the ladder of position for this kind of job, but are only worrying about the low wage that is offered as they work as apprentices in the beginning. But the problem is that although these youth want to work high-paying wage jobs and professional jobs, they do not have the skills to be employed for those jobs. It is believed that a big factor in helping the youth in Hong Kong is to get the government to strive and support the traditional apprenticeship programs more, as they aren't really supporting them currently. And this would help the youth because experienced older workers could take the youth coming out of school under their wings so that the youth would be more willing to work harder jobs with the help of assistance from elder mentors to get them started. These programs could also give youth experience so that they could possibly do professional jobs and high-paying jobs. Another big factor is believed to be the fact that the school system is not good enough and doesn't give young people enough confidence heading into adulthood to get jobs. Now, let's take a look at the bigger picture. I'm going to talk about how youth unemployment affects the youth in different regions around the world, particularly Europe and the UK. Let's start with the UK. Although the unemployment rate for the overall society in the UK is not high, 1 in 5 young adults are unemployed and 1 out of 5 youth do not have a job. And the unemployment rate for the youth is more than double the rate of the whole society. So this is clearly a big problem for the UK. It is believed that, again, this is caused by the fact that young people are not prepared to enter jobs after they finish secondary school or university and do not have the skill or the appeal to be hired by companies and do not meet the minimal requirements. Adding on, one final factor causing and restraining the efforts of more youth getting employed by companies is the employer's national insurance. This has become a big problem and a barrier to companies wanting to offer more jobs and opportunities to employees, as this is responsible for making the cost higher for companies to employ someone for work. So this would cause companies to be reluctant to employ the youth. Now, regarding Europe, the whole region has also been struck hard with this economic phenomenon because, as you can see above, many EU countries have a very high youth unemployment rate. As I have stated, although this problem is spread throughout the whole Europe, I'm going to focus on this problem within countries in the Eurozone, basically all countries that use the euro as their currency, as the problem is most transparent and appalling in these places. As of September 2017, the unemployment rate for the overall region of the Eurozone was actually relatively low, sitting at 8.9%. However, according to Eurostat, the youth unemployment rate was a completely different story, sitting at 8.7%, which, if you think about it, is actually very high, as it is nearing the fact that 20% of the youth who join the labor force and start work are jobless. In the Eurozone, there's the extreme side of the spectrum, with the highest youth unemployment rates in Greece, Spain, as well as Italy, all having shocking youth unemployment rates up to 40%. More surprisingly is that while these countries have shockingly high ones, Germany and the Netherlands have exceptionally low rates, with 7 and 11% respectively. The philosophy in Europe is that, according to CNN, many young individuals are young, educated, and unemployed as well. In their respective countries, many of these youngsters actually have highly prized degrees from universities, but are underemployed as they can't find any jobs and are forced to work many part-time jobs that do not live up to their qualifications. These individuals have stated that the main problem is that these employers are not thinking of these young people and do not plan to get help from them, and many employers require lots of working experience, which the youth don't have, just to work entry-level or starting jobs. Finally, in Portugal, although the government has pushed for programs to help the young obtain jobs, these jobs have had ridiculous wages from employers. However, in Greece, the problem is just that there are just no jobs available. One big problem is that as these young people are unemployed for longer periods of time, little do they know that they are becoming less and less attractive to employers. This would then lead to longer term unemployment, as these youth would often become discouraged and lose the will to find jobs. So, this shows how crucial it is for the youth to find jobs right after they come out of schooling and not take really long periods of time to do so. So, we've talked about how bad unemployment is, both in Hong Kong and in Europe. But how badly is the problem affecting all parts of our world? Although the International Labour Organization puts the total number of youth unemployed in the world at 71 million, The Economist calculates that 290 million youth around the world are inactive and are not in school or working a job, which equates to about a quarter of the young people in the world not doing anything and is just a tad smaller than the whole population of the United States. There are multiple things that have an effect on this, but the main causes of youth unemployment globally are girls not being offered equal opportunities for jobs and education, youth in countries with poor economical situations, minimal schooling in some areas, and the main one, the fact that there is a skills gap between jobs and the youth, as they don't have the required skill for jobs like problem solving or communication. So, now that I've introduced the main factors and concepts of this problem, how can we solve this problem? How can we reduce the numbers of youth unemployment around the world? Let's see what people have tried to do to try and reduce the numbers of unemployment and solve this problem. One attempt at trying to fix this problem was the 20 Under 20 program, started by PayPal co-owner Peter Thiel, which sponsors entrepreneurship and helps smart youth to follow their interests and have confidence in themselves. This program chooses bright young people and gives them $100,000 and 2 years for them to build things and work on projects. This program has had many successes, as it has given youth skills and experience in the adult business industry that you wouldn't get at normal education, and has started the opening of many companies. This program also is believed to help you make connections and can help you gain many skills to get employed in the future. However, the two bad things is that one, only 1% of those who apply get into the program, and two, if you decide to go through with it, you have to drop out of school, and many believe that dropping out of school is a terrible idea as you miss out on many skills that you learn from school. Two more successful approaches to youth unemployment include relating work and education a lot, as Germany has established very good vocational education for youth to get prepared for work, as well as very good apprenticeship programs, which have been a big factor in its low unemployment rate. While some European countries have also introduced an even better method called youth guarantees, where they provide strict plans for all young people for training and/or jobs. However, both of these methods could be quite costly. Solution time. Although this cannot be wiped out completely, due to many factors that we can't change easily, like bad economic situations in countries, there are ways to reduce youth unemployment. I believe that currently the best solution, and what I believe will be the most effective one to this big economic problem, is to follow the footsteps of Germany and Nordic countries, and have governments of all privileged countries provide both good quality apprenticeship programs and exceptional vocational education for youth to go through after they finish secondary school or university, because as shown by Germany, these methods clearly work. Governments should also look to innovate these programs further, possibly by having the government pay wages for companies to hire youth who do not have the required skill for a job so that they can train, and pay these wages for the inexperienced youth until they're ready and have enough skill and experience so that the youth don't go through a scarring time where they're unemployed long term. Although I do see potential in solving this problem through entrepreneurship, I believe that yes, this can be an alternative solution, but I don't think that it is economically correct for governments, and I don't think it is accessible to provide sponsored entrepreneur programs for everyone, even though this solution has potential in Hong Kong with the $500 million Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development Fund. However, according to my calculations, in order to support an entrepreneurship program for three-quarters of the 800,000 youth in Hong Kong, like the one provided by Theo, it would cost the government $60 billion. So, back to the apprenticeship programs and the vocational education, I believe that if countries, particularly governments, invest more money into this problem and pay more attention to it, it can help change the lives of many young people all around the world. This can help us locally in Hong Kong, as the youth will be able to take advantage of these programs by getting help from elder, experienced workers and would not be as reluctant to work hard jobs. I believe that these programs would also help kids learn more things and get more experience in big industries so that even if they don't want to do hard jobs like construction, they could possibly gain enough skill and experience from the programs to work more preferable jobs that they would like. However, I don't know if the government would prioritize this program that much as done in the past. Adding on, I believe this solution could cost a lot for Hong Kong, even if it helps youth become employed. Because if all the youth decide to work professional jobs after apprenticeship programs and neglect the hard jobs, fundamental industries like construction and electrician will continue to be in need of more workers, and there would not be anyone working in them, which is a huge problem. And as you know, this would be an even bigger problem for Hong Kong, since construction will be in special need for more workers in the coming future due to the amount of building of tall skyscrapers and many homes for the homeless in Hong Kong becoming bigger and bigger. So this solution might not be all that great for Hong Kong. Regionally, I believe that if all countries in Europe follow what Germany is doing, it will yield good results. Because I believe if the youth become more skilled, employers will consider the youth more in the future of their businesses, unlike the situation right now. However, for countries like Greece, with close to none jobs available, I don't think this would help. Globally, around the world, I believe, all in all, I think if countries are financially able to support vocational education and good apprenticeship programs and develop these rates of youth unemployment will drop dramatically all around the globe. However, although I believe that most countries are able to support these programs, I feel that financially speaking, this solution is not great for some underprivileged countries, as I think that providing all of these programs would cost quite a bit, although I don't know the exact cost. And a lot of youth unemployment actually occurs in poor countries. So, in my point of view, this solution was not be ideal financially. Now, let's answer one of the essential questions. How can we best address current economic issues? I think that in this context, and with this problem in mind, the best way to address current economic problems is to make governments more aware of them first. The reason I say this is because I believe Although many countries have the funds to address their problems at hand, many governments, I would say, are unaware of how bad some problems actually are, and how crucial solving or letting them get worse could be to the future of their economies. Because of this unawareness, this would then cause the governments to not allocate any or enough funds to solve these problems, and not do much to address these problems. An example of this would be the United States addressing youth unemployment, because they only allocated $1.8 billion to solving this problem. However, although that may seem like a lot, they allocated extremely more funds to other problems, as they allocated $13 billion to water and sanitation programs in 2014, as well as $12.65 billion to agricultural programs, probably because they do not believe that youth unemployment is a big problem or are unaware of what is at stake with the problem. But I believe if they truly were aware of youth unemployment and how bad an issue it was to become to be, as well as the impact that it had, they would allocate many more funds to this problem, which would boost the development of solving this issue. So, I believe that if governments are made more aware of these economic problems, they will be able to do much more to address them to solve these problems, and the governments, with all the power, as well as all the money that they have, can turn these problems on their heads.